what I love about the convo that we're having now is that we're talking real feelings, real emotions. And how have you noticed people within our generation, within your generation, really being okay with using words like vulnerable, using words like, cathartic, using words like, words that, I'll be honest, when I was in my late teens, early, 20s, there were words I didn't even like really fully know that were the way that I was feeling. What's it mean to you? How does it feel to be able to really fully express yourself and have it be, commonplace nowadays?
Yeah, listen, I think it's so funny, right? Like, I feel like we're in a place where, for sure, there's no doubt that mental health is discussed way more than it was in generations before. However, I still feel for sure there's still a stigma around it. I think for sure there's like an emotional awareness about it, which I think is an amazing first step.
For sure, yeah.
But I do think that, like anything, it's that first step. You kind of have to kind of go a little bit deeper and keep pushing yourself in terms of like, okay, now I'm aware of these different things that I do and what I'm, attracted to and why this happens. And there's something so empowering about that. Like, oh, I know this. The awareness is amazing. But I think what sometimes you can forget is that is truly just that first layer. Yeah. It is like going deeper and deeper and deeper. And the deeper you go, it's not that it doesn't get easier.
It doesn't get easier at all.
It gets harder,
way more difficult. You have to be willing to really challenge yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like my generation, and definitely even the generation below me, is very acutely aware of these different intellectual first kind of layers, which again is amazing and a great first step. And I think an amazing indicator of, like, from a young age, if they're already doing that, that's great. But I sometimes worry, and I even say this with myself, that awareness isn't just,
I'm done.
Done and everything.
That's when the work begins.
Yes.
When did the work begin for you? Like, when did you really start to, not only be self-aware, but really, tell yourself, like, you know what? I want to make sure I do the work to be my best self. Years ago, was it maybe something that you're just starting to get in touch with? Because for me personally, it wasn't that far ago. It wasn't until I started to talk to my therapist, not too long, a couple of years ago, and it might have been the pandemic. And I feel like that's like the thing that a lot of us kind of have gone towards. But yeah, when did you kind of think like, oh, you know what? I want to be my best self and I'm going to put in that work. Whenabouts was that?
It obviously, like I said before, it's definitely not linear. I had like a bit of a weird experience with therapy when I was really young, when I was like around 9 or 10. Not like a bad experience, but just an experience where it certainly I didn't feel safe with my therapist. Again, to just very much clarify, it wasn't like in a way of, oh, I felt in physical danger, any sort of danger. It was just that I shared something that was then like shared as well, which, very much I think for me as someone who already has a hard time sharing and having that trust, I was like, oh, well, now I'm challenge accepted of not ever sharing anything ever again.
Yeah. There's a giant roadblock I put in front of myself.
I'm like, exactly. And so, it took me a really long time to go to therapy after that. I mean, years and years and years. And, I would journal here and there, but I had a lot of internal being just kind of like in my own head. And then I think in 2019, it was before the pandemic, but 2019, there's a lot going on that year that I really made that first step of like, I've been wanting it for a while, but I need to go see it.
Proud of yourself for being able to make that step?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's hard. Like, it's definitely,
of course.
Well, you have to download all this information to someone that doesn't
that you're
know
just
you.
meeting, that you're just finally being comfortable with.
This is what happened when I was 7. You know what I mean? So 100%. It's a lot, but I love her, and I still see her, and I think it was such a helpful journey for me in so many aspects of my life. But like we said, it's not that it gets easier.
Not at all.
It's like you really, it's not the exact thing by any means for sure, but I will say, I do wish we talked about mental health in the same way we did talk about physical health.
Yeah.
Because we do, or you're supposed to do a physical, you're supposed to get checked up. You
gotta
have
go to the
different
doctor,
things in your
yes.
body that's going to go wrong, and that
Yes.
happens. Why wouldn't you want to do the same thing with your mental health?
With your brain, with your heart, with your heck yeah. I mean, what I am, again, to everything you said, what I am so grateful of now is that we are having the conversations, that people are willing to go there and shout out one time in the room for everybody who does therapy. Yeah. All right. Shout out one time for everybody who's not afraid to ask for help. But what are some of those kind of things that you do when you need to either slow the energy down a bit? Are you a 1, 2, 3, let me count to 10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like do you
I'm a deep
immediately
breather.
are you a deep breather?
I'm a deep breather. Because I realize how much I don't deep breathe. Okay, I got a massage.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Like
Shout out
2
to
years
massages.
ago. Shout out to massages. A year ago, around a year ago, right? And it was my first time after I got this massage, my masseuse gave me notes. And I was like...
masseuse?
And he was like, you have to do way more deep breathing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't breathe deeply enough. And as soon as I realized, like, oh my God, I breathe, but I just like actually taking the time of counting, of like, inhale. There it is. Hold, and then exhaling through time. Like, it is, I also think I have nasal issues on a regular basis. So that's a whole other
Me too.
conversation.
My sinuses are bad for that.